All right, so John Mulaney has a brand new show on Netflix and it's live, and you know what? It's pretty good. So let's get into it. Yes, the big thing I want to talk about today is John Mulaney's new live show on Netflix, but we got a bunch of other things to talk about. So let's start with number one, Ted Lasso. So a couple days ago, maybe a week ago now, I can't even remember now. I don't know how up to date this show actually is going to be. But we got news that Ted Lasso is going to be renewed for a fourth season. Now, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, there are going to be some spoilers in this section, so you can skip ahead to the next chapters. I do recommend that you don't get this show spoiled for you. I do recommend that you actually watch it properly because it is honestly one of the best shows. The hype is real. It's great. I actually got into it very late. A couple friends of Calgary, a couple friends from Calgary, a couple friends of ours actually introduced me and my wife to the show, and it's an amazing show. And here's the thing about Ted Lasso, and why I kind of have mixed feelings about it being renewed for another season. So Ted Lasso is one of these shows that ended so perfectly. And you know what? I find that dramedies in general end really well. So I find like one of my favorite genres of shows are kind of sci-fi mysterious shows, right? So like Lost, Dark, Severance, Westworld, these kinds of shows. But a lot of those shows, the big problem is they start really great on a first season or first couple seasons. And the more they try to unravel the mystery and the more they solve things, the show kind of dips in quality. Westworld was really bad for this. Like Westworld season one was one of the best seasons I'd ever seen of a show, and then it really went downhill. And I find the more they try to explain things, it gets worse. Whereas I find dramedies, or maybe straight up comedies, they know how to wrap up a show properly. Like if I think about some of the best shows I've ever seen, and it's because their endings were so good. I think about Extras, Ricky Gervais' Extras. That show was such a good, solid show from beginning to end and ended really well. I think of BoJack Horseman had an amazing ending. Like all these, like again, comedies or dramedies, I find they have very satisfying endings. And Ted Lasso was one of the best examples of this. Ted Lasso's ending was, in my opinion, one of the best endings I've ever seen in the show. It had such a good sentiment. I love the message. It just wrapped things up really nicely. So to me, it was like, let it lie, right? It's a great show. Just let it lie, let it be great. Don't bring it back. So that's why I'm a little bit like season 4 Ted Lasso. I'm not too sure, but what I do like is what I've read is that it's season 4. It's kind of they're going to take Ted Lasso and he's going to be coaching a new team, a women's team. And I think that's kind of nice in the sense that it's like it's not really tying it to the last season or last 3 seasons, I guess. Like I'm hoping, I mean, yeah, there might be some cameos here and there, but the fact that it's kind of like a brand new beginning and a new chapter, I kind of have a little bit of hope for it. And not to mention just the writers and producers or whoever makes Ted Lasso what it is, Jason Sudeikis and all those people. I have a little bit of faith that they'll do a good job. And you know what? It hasn't been such a big gap between when season 3 when the show ended, season 3 and season 4 coming. It hasn't been such a massive gap that it'd be a little bit jarring. Like for example, Frasier, which is another show that I think ended amazingly. It was like a 25 year gap or whatever when the new one started. So that felt a little bit weird. The new Frasier is nothing. It's like nowhere near the quality or feeling as the first one. So Ted Lasso season 4. If I was more informed on this show, I would tell you when it's starting, but I don't know. But yeah, it's been announced. It's happening. I think the writers have maybe started writing or whatever. We'll see how it is. But again, it's a little bit bittersweet to hear about it. Okay. All right, our next story is about a new movie that's coming out. Actually, today's news, there's a lot of TV and movie stuff. So it's called The Luckiest Man in America. This is a new film. I don't know. IFC is releasing it. IFC Films, and it is about. Well, here's the thing. I can't really fully get what it's. I can't actually fully decipher what it's about. It seems like some guy, and it's a true story based on the insane true story. About a guy who goes on some game show. And I guess, with game shows, they obviously do a lot of vetting of people. And I think with game shows, there's a lot of the producers obviously want a lot of control, right? Like who wins, who loses. They don't want the people to win too much, these kinds of things. That's kind of what I gathered from the game show industry and movies about the game show and about game shows. And I guess this guy slipped through the cracks, and one of the lines in the trailer is like, did anybody vet this guy? And I think the deal is he keeps winning and wins a lot more than the producers want. And I guess the whole like drama behind that. So that's what it is. Now, the reason this movie has me interested is it kind of reminds me of two previous things that I was super interested in. So first one's Quiz Show. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of Quiz Show, but if you haven't, Quiz Show is this incredible movie with Ray Fiennes and who else is in it? Hank Azaria, all these other people. I can't remember right now. It's an amazing movie, and I believe that's a true story about, again, a rigged quiz show, and all the drama around it, and that is an awesome movie. So definitely go see Quiz Show. And then this also reminds me of another miniseries that I believe was British. And then since AMC has purchased the rights to it, so I guess you can only stream it on AMC Plus, called literally just Quiz. It's like a miniseries. The funny thing is I haven't actually seen it. I was just so intrigued by the trailer that I really wanted to see it. And I remember I saw like the first 10 minutes when it aired in Canada on CBC Gem, I believe, which was also interesting. And this genre, I guess it's not really a genre, but this like, I don't know, subgenre of thrillers about quiz shows and game shows and them being fixed, always has me interested. So this movie, the trailer came out, I can't remember when. The guy who's starring in, I actually didn't know much about him. I just IMDb'd him. He's the guy. He's one of the main guys in Clint Eastwood's movie Richard Jewell, who that movie was about. I think it was a bombing, but where the guy who found the bomb, he was suspected. This is a true story. So that's the main guy in it. Other people in this, Walton Goggins, who I didn't really know, but I think people really know him from really big video game movie or video game series on Amazon, Fallout. He's in Fallout, Walton Goggins. So he's like the game show host in this. And then David Strathairn, who I came to love in Good Night and Good Luck. Awesome actor. So it seems like intriguing cast. It seems like a big enough movie. It has a smallish feel to it. But this whole quiz show, again, subgenre of movies and fixing and the behind the scenes producing and all this stuff always has me intrigued. So check out the trailer, Luckiest Man on America. I'll put the link in the description below. Okay, interesting bit of news dropped today or yesterday. So I was actually scrolling through my YouTube, which basically, by the way, guys, this show is just a summary of all my YouTube scrolling and other internet scrolling. But I came across IGN had posted a trailer for Simpsons streaming, and I was like, "What is this trailer? It's just Simpsons episodes. I can stream Simpsons episodes today on Disney Plus. What's the big deal?" So it turns out that Disney Plus is running a 24/7 live stream of The Simpsons. And what it's doing it in chronological order. Every single episode of Simpsons, from back to back, it's just going through all the episodes and then playing them again and again and again 24/7. And I think it was Engadget who reported on this, that if you count up all the episodes and you do the rough math, that's roughly 12 days of content before it recycles. So this is pretty cool. I mean, I'm obviously a massive Simpsons fan. I mean, who isn't? And I mean, I used to go to sleep to Simpsons all the time. I put an episode of Simpsons before I go to bed. This is such a big thing. But what I like about this is, the author of the Engadget article also commented on this. The biggest issue with on demand, right? Like as soon as everybody went to on demand and started giving up cable, like I still subscribe to cable, but when we gave up cable and we went to on demand. The biggest issue is this like choice paralysis, right? When you're like, oh, you're scrolling through every single, like, oh, you're on Netflix. Okay, let's spend 20 minutes scrolling, and then we'll just put on something that we wanted, like we watch all the time anyways, like a Simpsons episode or something, right? This is always the problem with on demand, right? You spend endless time scrolling, and especially when you're watching shows like Simpsons. Like if you go to Simpsons, you're like, okay, which random episode am I going to put on, right? This is true with many shows I watch: American Dad, Family Guy, Futurama, all these, Fox animation shows. It's just which one am I going to put on, right? And so, I mean, Netflix had they had trialed something like I Feel Lucky kind of thing, like where it just randomly puts something on. And I think they might still have that with shows or whatever. But I like the idea that it used to be back in the day with cable, right? When you would go watch a repeat, you wouldn't know what episode would come on. It would just be some random episode and you'd enjoy that episode, right? And so I love the idea of a shuffle randomized thing of episode. Now, this isn't shuffled. This is chronologically every episode in order. But still, at what random time do you... Sorry, at the random time that you happen to go on Disney Plus and you put on this stream, some random episode is going to be playing, right? And you don't know what it's going to be, and you're just going to sit down and enjoy it. And I think that's one of the biggest things we've lost with streaming. We don't have this random discovery or random enjoyment of shows, right? So I love that. I mean, to be honest, this isn't the first thing that streaming services have done. It's one of maybe the first things that Disney Plus has done like this. But I know Netflix has experimented with different things. But this is really cool. 24/7. Now, here's the catch. I don't know if this is only in the States that this is happening. For those who don't know, I'm based in Canada, and I checked Disney Plus this morning. I couldn't figure out how to find this thing, so this might be just in the US doing this. Hopefully, they roll it out to all the different all the countries that Disney Plus is available in. But I love the idea. I kind of wish, again, this was like not just Simpsons. I wish there was like 5 live streams I could go to on Disney Plus. And it's like, oh, here's a bunch of animation. It could be Futurama, it could be American Dad, it could be Family Guy, just randomly put on. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to watch. So I'm just gonna throw it on. That's the beauty of cable, right? I love channel surfing on cable. I love randomly like coming across an episode on cable, even if I've seen it a billion times. It's just give me the choice. Or sorry, complete opposite. Make the choice for me, right? So anyway, Simpsons 24/7. Apparently, it's available in the States. If you're in the States and you can verify this is happening, you know, let me know, comment, or whatever. And hopefully it rolls out to other countries. Is the word I'm looking for. All right, next story. So let's talk about John Mulaney's new show. So if you don't know, there's a new show on Netflix called Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, and like the name says it all. This is a live show. And now again, Netflix has done live streams before. You know, I think they maybe did some awards. Maybe the Screen Actors Guild Awards were live. They've done live broadcasts before. This is not the first time they've done this. But this, I believe, is the first time they're doing a live talk show. And I have a lot to say about this. So again, this is John Mulaney hosting what is kind of like a traditional talk show, right? And you know, I love talk shows. I still love talk shows today. You know, there's something very comforting about watching talk shows. I obviously grew up watching, you know, like Leno and Letterman, and obviously Conan. Conan's obviously, you know, king of our generation in terms of late night talk shows. And that kind of format, I actually really like the classic format. Some, you know, person comes out in a suit, does a monologue, interviews guests. It's still something I love watching today. Like I watch a lot of Colbert, and I'll be honest, it's not even that I find those shows. I'm not like laughing out loud all the time when I watch them. In fact, most of the time I'm just sitting there enjoying it, but not actually laughing that much. But there's something comforting about watching it. It's almost like maybe the routine at the end of the night. You kind of watch this thing, you know. You know, and obviously we're losing a lot of that. I think the late night talk show has kind of gone downhill. Not a lot of people watch it. But I've always been a big fan of it. But then because I'm a big fan of it, I think I'm also very like hesitant about like new shows that debut, right? It usually kind of takes me a while to get into them. I remember I was really pumped when After Midnight was going to premiere after Stephen Colbert, but I didn't realize that was a panel show. I didn't realize that was kind of a reboot of At Midnight. I thought it was going to be a more traditional, again, you know, talk show or whatever. So when they replaced Corden with that, I was like, oh, this is not really kind of what I want. And I don't love American panel shows, to be honest. But I mean, it's good enough entertainment to watch. And then what else? Like, I can't even think. Like anytime even new hosts come on, I'm a little bit like, oh, is this going to be good or not? It takes me a while to kind of warm up to them. I think even Colbert took me a while to warm up to. So I do have a history of really liking this kind of format. So I'm always like, is this going to be good or not? But not to mention, I also love that Netflix is doing a live version of this. So this airs Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Pacific. I love the fact that it's live because, again, I do think live TV brings people together. Even though you can watch this after it's been aired, you can watch it on demand. In fact, that's what I did the first time. But let me forget about the history. Let me just talk about the show itself, because what I was surprised about the show is I actually quite enjoyed it from episode one. Like right away, I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I like John Mulaney as a comedian. I like to stand up. I like his comedy on SNL. I like the skits that he's written on SNL. I like him. So I wasn't really like, oh, this is not going to be because of him. I just didn't know how I was going to like, him in this new show. So let's talk about. It's called Everybody's Live. John Mulaney. Apparently, it's kind of a spin-off or a version of a show that he did maybe a year ago. Or according to the show, it was like 10 months ago. It was called Everybody's in LA. So he did a show called Everybody's in LA, which I assume is almost the exact same format as this. So, if you've seen that, you probably know what the deal is here. But this kind of has a traditional talk show feel, right? It's got him. It's got Richard Kind, who's kind of like his Andy Richter or his announcer, right? So you have Richard Kind, and they have a pretty nice dynamic. And he has a panel of guests that join him. So kind of like James Corden style or Graham Norton style, where all his guests kind of sit on the couch together. But what's kind of weird about it is he doesn't do interviews. He kind of does interviews, but like really small. But he kind of bases his kind of couch interview around live phone calls. So it's like a call-in show. So people can call in, and I think they're real calls. I've fallen for fake stuff like this before, but I do think these are genuine calls that are from real people. So it's a call-in show. They based it around some kind of theme. So today, the theme on the episode one happened to be about lending friends money. And he had some pretty big guests on. He had Joan Baez. He had Michael Keaton. He had a financial columnist. He had Fred Armisen, right? So pretty big guests on the couch. And it was entertaining. And what was interesting is, like, I was watching this at like 1 a.m. when I already had no sleep, and I was compelled. I was like, I just kept watching to kind of be like, oh, what's gonna come next? What's gonna come next? And again, I wasn't like laughing out loud, like it wasn't like hilarious or anything like that, but it's entertaining enough and intriguing enough that I was compelled to watch the whole episode. There's little snippets he has with interviews of people, I think just random people around LA, and those are shot really stylishly. Like, what I kind of like about the show is I think that everything that he's trying to do to be unique is kind of working. It's not so over the top that it's like this is a weird show, but it is over the top enough that you're like, it's weird enough to be intriguing. He did a comedy bit that I think I get the impression that John Mulaney is a massive theater and musical fan based on a lot of his SNL skits. And he did something with a theater, Death of a Salesman, that was interesting enough. Again, I wasn't laughing like crazy. And then at the very end of the show, Cypress Hill was on, which I'd forgotten. Like, to be honest, like when the show opened up and they're flashing all the names of all the people on, I'm like, is this a joke? Like, how many people are you going to have on one episode of the show? And what's funny is that Cypress Hill was on with a symphony orchestra, or 7-piece orchestra or something. And I get the impression that Cypress Hill has done this already, maybe on an album, but this kind of obviously brings me back to Simpsons and how there's that big joke about who ordered the London Symphony Orchestra. Cypress Hill, I'm looking your way. That all kind of came together. And again, I'm not a massive, I don't even consider myself a Cypress Hill fan, period. But that was kind of cool to watch. And just overall, like it had the feel of a good talk show, like the kind of traditional talk show. But it was weird and quirky enough that it was like John Mulaney's own, which I appreciate. But it wasn't so weird that it was just kind of weird and boring to watch. It was actually kind of fun to watch. And I mean, I'm not necessarily going to watch it live. I respect that Netflix is doing it live. But, I mean, I'm probably just going to watch it on repeat. It's just something fun to watch, And I do think there are a lot of interesting shows like this that are kind of coming out. Have I Got News for You on CNN? It's not exactly this format. It is a panel show, but it's one of the few American panel shows that I actually really enjoy. But yeah, so John Mulaney, Everybody's Live. The reason I want to talk about this is I was surprised. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, and I'm surprised that I stayed up till 2 a.m. Watching it, considering how tired I was, because I was that intrigued. So I think this is going to be a great addition to the kind of talk show genre. Hopefully, they keep going. Hopefully, people enjoyed as much as I did. There's a. I also really want to say one thing about the little bits in between where they interview random people in LA. It's shot really nice. It's got a really nice aesthetic. I think it's a little bit vintage, a little bit washed out film look, and it looks really nice. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I think it's one of these things that you might not really consider watching, because the only reason I considered watching it is because it came up. Well, one, John Mulaney, I'm a fan of John Mulaney, but two, a clip came up on my YouTube feed, and I watched it. I was like, this seems interesting. I'm gonna give it a chance. So John Mulaney, Everybody's Live. I guess it's called Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. No, sorry, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. But the reality is, you can rewatch it after it's aired live. Check it out regardless. I'm a pretty big fan, and that's it for our first episode. To get into it, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff at YouTube. I'm hoping to do this stuff kind of regularly, but let me know how you liked it. All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode.